The former CEO, but still majority shareholder, of course, Natch, shrewd. Former CEO of the Scottish beer company Brewdog has given an interview in which he said Britain is a lazy nation. It's not work-oriented, and Britons need to end their obsession with work-life balance, which I thought was interesting. I thought, yeah, that interested me when he said that. Britain is a lazy nation. It's not work-oriented, and they need to end their obsession with work-life balance. Okay, all right, I'm invested. Let's talk about this. The reason I thought it was interesting was because it kind of, like, it taps in to the very different ways that we can see work in the United Kingdom. And on that, I shall now elaborate. Like, he said he reckons people who talk about work-life balance dreamt it up because they don't like their work.
So I just think the whole concept of work-life balance was invented by people who hate the work that they do.
But if you love what you do, you don't need work-life balance.
So if you love what you do, you don't need work-life balance, you need work-life integration.
What you need is work-life integration, which, to be honest, sounds like something out of a whiteboard session with fucking Dominic Cummings, doesn't it? What you need is work-life integration, guys. Sounds a bit whiteboard.
You need work-life integration.
So, here is the thing. James Watt was CEO of Brewdog. And he stepped down last year after former workers penned an open letter in 2021 talking about a culture of fear, toxic attitudes to junior staff.
More than 300 former employees have signed an open letter accusing the company's founders of an aggressive culture that excused sexism and misogyny.
It was horrific.
The following year, the BBC say several ex-employees accused him of inappropriate behaviour. This was in a BBC documentary. I watched it. It was actually quite jarring. He obviously watched it also. He complained to Ofcom about the BBC programme. Ofcom rejected it. One of the few times that I'm rooting for Ofcom. Like, yes! Go on, lads! And anyway, then in the January, just before he stepped down, I think he stepped down in the April or May or something, Brewdog abandoned the living wage. And instead, they put their new starters on the regular minimum wage. Okay, which, I mean, you get the idea. You're painting a picture in your brain, I'm sure, of the kind of individual that we're talking about. So he starts a brewery, and it seems to go pretty good, right? This is his bio. He becomes very rich off the back of it, and it sounds like I don't know the guy. Sounds like he's become a bit of an arsehole, maybe. And then he holds his hand up and he says, okay, well, look, maybe, with all the criticism or whatever, maybe I won't be a CEO then. It's too much heat, whatever. But obviously, he still keeps his shares. So he gets all of the financial benefits, but none of the flack. Good for you. Smart move. Good stuff. Now, this week, he puts this thing on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, and he's talking about, the work-life balance thing.
You need work-life integration.
And it sends people, it rubs people up the wrong way for a couple of reasons, okay? Because, he's just coasting on these shares, right? He's coasting on his share. He stepped down from the CEO role. He doesn't really have a job now. He's just surfing on the financial safety and security of those shares, while everybody else in that company does the hard work. Like, how's that for a work-life balance, mate? I mean, you're living pretty good. Like, people just don't want to work anymore, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. But B, because there's a real, job versus career discussion and debate and thing going on here, right? So he's on about people integrating work into their home life.
So if you love what you do, you don't need work-life balance, you need work-life integration.
Is what he says. And if you watch the rest of the video, as indeed I did, his missus is in it too. And some of you may recognise her. Her name is Georgia Toffolo, and she's the lady off Made in Chelsea. Okay? So he's on this video, him and his missus, Georgia Toffolo, talking about how People need to let go of this work-life balance thing. People don't want to work hard. Britain doesn't have a working culture. Both of them are like, we never switch off. We never switch. Even when we have the kids on the weekend, James's kids come to stay with us on the weekend. Even when we have them, we never switch off. We're always working. We might have a business idea when we're sat around the kitchen table, is what she's saying. I always knew I was going to be with a man like James because he's hardworking. We both got that same thing. We're both aligned. We always think about business. We're always working. And he's saying, like, nobody wants to work anymore. Like, this is the thing. I never switch off, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, that is a totally fucking different thing to clocking into your night shift for another 7-hour shift of, like, being on your feet, walking around, walking up the stairs, walking down the stairs, a 15-minute break all night, back and forth, load the glass washer, deal with this drunken prick right over here, then clean that table, serve these cunts, wipe this, clean that, wipe the other thing over there, and then right at the end, here's your minimum wage check, now fuck off.
It was horrific.
Like, it's that, one is a career, okay? One is a career, the other is a job. And there's a really big fucking difference there. So when he says things like what was the thing he said in the video again? He said, Britons are among the least work-oriented people in the world. It's like, yes, they are. Because you're making them do manual labour for hours on end in a cost of living crisis for fuck all. That's why, like, you're supposed to be all G'd up and enthusiastic about clocking in for that shit. And then, then you add a layer of his missus stood next to him, like, oh, I always knew that I'd end up with somebody like James. Like, right, fine. I think we all guessed that too, Georgie.
I love a little bit of corruption. He's a bloody lefty. This guy isn't just left-wing. He's literally Lord Left-Wing.
My parents have never given me anything on a plate, so I don't understand the whole upbringing.
You mean apart from private education?
Honestly, these two. Him with his socio-economic detachment. Where he's like, is there some way that we could pay them less? Is there some way that we could pay them less but then disparage them and say they should work harder and nobody wants to work anymore? They should love it. Is there some way that we could halve their money? How much do we have to pay them? No, really? We can't do that. We can't do it? No? Okay, right. And then this plummy cunt is sat next to him. Straight off the privilege conveyor belt. Right up there, like just walking along on the old boarding school boardwalk. Here she comes. Chelsea's answer to a question no one asked. Georgie Toffolo, ladies and gentlemen. Back once again to sing one of the classics. You're going to know the words because we've heard it many, many times before. If you want something in life, you've got to work for it. And it's such an obvious magic trick, this, that they come out with this stuff. When ultra privileged, wealthy people...
My parents have never given me anything on a plate, so I don't understand the whole upbringing.
You mean apart from private education?
Tell broke people... Well, you want something? Well, you got to work hard. You got to keep your head down there. You got to work hard for it. That's how you get all of this stuff. It's like, like you didn't. Okay, right. And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? I did data entry at my granddad's hedge fund. I did data entry for 4 weeks to earn the respect, and then he gave me the seed money to start my own hedge fund, and that's how I became incredibly financially successful. I mean, I'm not talking about these two. That is not what happened with these two. But that is the vibe. If you want something in life, guys, you just got to work for it. Just like I did. Just like I did when I washed my grandfather's car, and then he gave me that internship at a highly prestigious newspaper. I mean, it's sort of weird in a way. It's like, if they're truly completely unaware, if they are ignorant in the nicest possible way that you can be ignorant, like where they truly think that their own hard work is the genesis of their success, rather than the sort of almost prehistoric cocktail of privileges and lifts up that they got before and probably during their entire success story. Imagine possessing that level of ignorance. Nothing came before it. No family money. No boarding school. No loans from your uncle or your father to set up the business. No connections. It is all just contextless too. That's what it is. Decades of history before it just erased. Whitewashed, just like the Express. Boom. 14 years gone. I mean, I suppose if you think of it like that, right? Maybe just having a Tory mindset is actually a form of dementia. Maybe is that what it is? That sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Because they're the same. They're the same, guys. I mean, I'd love to see James Watt and Georgia Toffolo's face. Like the next time that cunt is in Waterloo Brewdog, right? And he's just sat there for ages waiting to get served and nobody wants to serve him because the guy's a prick. And he gets, finally gets the attention of some like exhausted, underpaid barmaid. And he's like, yeah, can I get a punk IPA? I've been waiting here for ages. And she's like, oh, I've got a great idea for a salon. I've got an amazing idea for a salon, James. Like, wait till you hear this. Here's my elevator pitch. He'd be like, well, it's great, but like, can I get my beer first? No. There's no time like the present. Like, I've got an idea for a business. Let's sit down. Shall I get the notepad? Shall I get a whiteboard? I've got some incredible business ideas, James. It's a weird time to do this, I know, but I can never switch off. You're the same, aren't you, Georgie? Tell him. Can you tell him? He looks really angry. Looks really angry and thirsty. But tell him we're always having ideas for businesses, no matter where we are or what our responsibilities. James was like, can I just get my fucking beer, please? The barmaid will just be like, why don't you come round here and get it yourself? Why don't you just toddle round here, James, and get your own fucking beer, all right? You see, this is the problem, lads. Nobody wants to fucking work anymore.
You need work-life integration.
Just another